To present the Extraordinary Character Award, we're pleased to welcome to the stage Brittany Clark-Fennell, the Director of Athletics at Maryville University, the longtime title sponsor of the Musial Awards. And next to Brittany is the sculpture presented to our Extraordinary Character and Lifetime Achievement Award honorees titled Remembering Stan the Man. This work was created by St. Louis artist Harry Weber. Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of the 2025 Musial Award for Extraordinary Character, Jen Pawol. Well, welcome to the Musial Awards. We're so excited that you're here. And I know you had a long season and then a trip to Japan, and yet you still were able to make it here. Why was it so important for you to be here tonight?
Sure, just such an honor to be to be included among any kind of conversation having to do with Stan Musial and his legacy. To be included in that, I just am so honored, and thank you. What an honor. Thank you.
And I know you probably know a lot about Stan Musial because you were a ball player yourself.
Yeah, I swung it a little bit.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I swung it.
So when you hear the name Stan Musial, what comes to mind?
Well, first, the stance, right? The stance, the batting legacy, you know, all the records, and then I guess his charisma that he had, that energy, that positive energy. It seemed like all the guys wanted to play with him, you know, be his teammate, be around him in the locker room, on the bus, the long bus rides, because they have the bus rides too back then. And it just really seemed to be somebody that made people better around him. And yeah, what?
Yeah. I'm wondering, take me through getting the call that you were going to umpire in the major leagues. How did it happen?
Sure. So my supervisor, Rich Rieker, and his boss, Mac McHenry, called early in the morning, and of course I was working out and studying the rules, and they called and they said, Jen, we have some news for you. You know, it's been a long time coming, and they talked, it seemed like eternity, and I could just feel where this was going. And then they said, we'd like to call you up this Saturday to Atlanta. And I was like, I was just the weight and the just working so hard that long. And then finally it being fulfilled was enormous.
Getting to be there that day.
And getting to be there, yeah.
So what was that like when you first came out through the tunnel and you take the field and you're the first female umpire in the history of baseball?
Right. I was so excited to get out there and you know, show everybody that I could umpire and get on the big league stadium, and the outpouring of support. You saw the pictures from so many of the fans with signs for Jen, for me. I really couldn't believe it. And I was like, I gotta get my calls right. And just trying to, I just gotta keep looking at the ball and first base and just get this through. And everything went pretty well that day.
Yeah, everything did go very well. When you decided that this was the career path that you were going to go, take me through that idea. I know you were a ball player at Hofstra. You were an all-conference softball player.
Yeah.
When did you make the decision to become an umpire as a career?
Yeah, do you want the long story or the short story?
Whatever story you want to tell.
Well, I was a catcher, and my playing days were, I was sort of like, I don't know if I keep doing women's major semi-pro for the rest of my life, not getting paid. Even though I was having a good time, I I was teaching art and at a middle school, and I just like, no, I still have something in me here. So I picked up umpiring to help myself get through college. I was broke, too. I was a little broke, so I needed another job, and got into umpiring, and I did that for about 10 years. That's how I met Kristi Cornwell and Lonnie Alameda, who was here before, one of the recipients. She's one of the coaches that I've crossed paths with over the years from fast pitch. But I also did a lot of baseball and high school baseball and so forth. And I went to, I always wanted to get better. I loved umpiring. That went on for like 10 years. And then I decided to go to a college baseball clinic camp, a 5-day camp, with major league instructors in Georgia, and that changed my life. That's where Ted Barrett and the other umpires that were there were like, Jen, why don't you take a look at becoming a pro? And in my mind, I'm like, I'm already umpiring, and so they said, no, go into the minors and try to be a major league umpire. And I was like, I'm a woman, right? Like, is this a good idea? Right? And they were like, yes, we know you're a woman. And Ted Barrett, major league umpire who just retired, all-time umpire hero for many, he's also a minister. And I knew a minister wouldn't possibly lie to me, right? And it was an impressionable young umpire coming up. And I said, all right, where do I go? How do I do this? And he told me about the Major League Baseball umpire camps. They're free, you go, you bring your A game, see if you can take it, see how far you can take it. And I think this has worked out for me.
Yeah.
So, I went and it worked out. Yeah.
I'm guessing in that class that you were in at the camp.
At the camp, yeah.
There weren't a lot of other women.
Yeah, I was the only one.
Yeah,
I was the only one.
And now you've broken this barrier, and I'm wondering, when you think of little girls who might want to do this, when you think about that, what's it mean to you that you were the first?
Well, I think it means that, first of all, I love umpiring. So I think everybody should become an umpire, right? I really do. I'm a big advocate to come into umpiring. We have an umpire shortage right now, if you don't know that. So I hope little girls, and young girls and women in college and even after college, moms that want a second job, just try umpiring. Really, it's really great. I really encourage you to do it. So,
We've done a number of stories on the Musial Awards about people who show respect to officials and umpiring. And I'd like you to speak a little bit to that, because especially in little leagues and the parents yelling at umpires, I wonder what you would have to say. What is your message tonight to those folks?
Sure, I feel that looking back on my parents and the coaches I had when I was younger, that something has certainly shifted with the sportsmanship level, especially at the younger levels. Like, I can remember when I was around 14 is when I started playing the competitive travel ball. Now we're getting serious, right? And because my parents told me that if I wanted to go to college, that I was gonna have to get good at something and get a scholarship, okay? So softball was my choice, and I said, okay, we're gonna try and get a scholarship for softball. Gotta play travel ball, get out there. And I remember the emphasis then being that and with my high school varsity coach, collectively, they were saying, we need to make sure that you're playing for someone that carries themselves a certain way. And what they were meaning was, they wanted me to, I always played for coaches that made sure their parents of their players were not yelling at officials. The coaches I played for always made sure we, the players, were not yelling at officials or other teammates, or parents yelling at other teammates, or parents yelling at other parents. There's a whole lot of things that could happen and I think are happening. and that really don't need to happen.
No.
You know,
Respect.
They don't need to happen, and it takes away from the game, the goodness of the game, and going out and playing hard. And you don't win every time, and you don't lose every time. But I just came back from Japan, like I mentioned, like you mentioned, and when I was working second base, we were playing, we were umpiring. Japan was hosting Korea for friendlies for the World Baseball Classic that's coming up right around the corner, and we were practicing the pitch clock. When I was out at second base, you could hear a level of sportsmanship from the fan base that I had never really experienced before. From left center over to the third base area were the Korean fans. And I don't know how the stadium orchestrates this in the Tokyo Dome, but from right center over to the first base side were Japanese fans. And when the Japanese hitters were hitting, the Korean fans out in the outfield with the instruments and all the flags and everything that they had going on, when Japan was batting, Korea would not say anything and allow the Japanese to cheer for their guy who was hitting. And then vice versa, 3 outs, Korea would hit, the Japanese fans would respect, the level of sportsmanship was amazing, and the Koreans would cheer for their team at bat, and it was really unlike anything I had experienced, but I mean, that was a really wholesome,
It gets to this
right
idea of kindness and respect.
For sure,
yeah.
For sure, yeah.
What's the future?
Well, the future is I head back out as a call-up next year for the 2026 season, do big league spring training wherever they decide I'm supposed to go, and work as a call-up, up and down, until enough people retire.
And then you'll be up there permanently.
Hopefully earn a job as one of the 76 and keep it going. Yeah, keep it going.
Sounds good. Jen,
Sure.
thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.